spoke with a good friend of mine about the doctrines of Calvinism. Right now, my friend is currently on the fence regarding the whole Calvinism-Arminianism debate. He admittedly hasn't looked into the issue as much as he'd like to, although he is seeking truth and really wants to understand God's role in the salvation of people. In our conversation, when I brought up the fact that Calvinistic thought is based largely upon the concept of determinism, he became pretty confused. No one had made that clear to him. The resources that sought to convince him of the validity of Calvinism conveniently left that part out. I wonder why that is. Because it's true that Calvinism relies strongly on a philosophical belief known as determinism. In theological circles, it's also called God's eternal decree. What is determinism, you ask? Well, I like the way Jack Cottrell describes determinism. He says it's the idea that God is the ultimate cause of all things outside of himself, down to the minute specifics. In giving an example of this, Calvinist John Piper often alludes to a tree branch falling in a remote African jungle without a soul in sight to witness it. And something as seemingly insignificant as this is, according to Piper, something that God himself has ordained to take place. Many Calvinists will point to the Westminster Confession on this point. It reads, "God from all eternity did by the most wise and holy counsel of his own will freely and unchangeably ordain whatsoever comes to pass." Elsewhere it reads, "God's decrees are wise, free, and holy acts of the counsel of his will, whereby from all eternity he hath for his own glory unchangeably foreordained whatsoever comes to pass, especially concerning angels and men." What's more, Calvinists then claim that for God to be truly sovereign, which he most definitely is, then he must determine everything that comes to pass in the world. If he did not determine everything that comes to pass, well, then he would not be sovereign, so they claim. Such a theory may not appear that problematic until one begins to really consider, well, what does come to pass in this world in which God has created? And at this point, there's no shortage of examples that spring to mind that would paint our most holy God, whom Habakkuk says cannot even look upon wickedness, in a most unholy light. For starters, as we survey the things that have taken place in human history, we might reasonably ask, does God cause murder? Does God cause genocide? Does God cause adultery? Does God cause racism? Does God cause abortion? Now, for the determinist, the answer to each one of those questions is an unequivocal yes. Yes, he does cause all those things. Now, I believe that God can use evil to accomplish good purposes, such as the murder of his son to potentially provide redemption for everyone born into this world, or the selling of Joseph in the Old Testament into slavery by his brothers to provide the redemption of Israel. Yes, God can use evil to accomplish good purposes, but I do not believe in any way, shape, or form that God himself causes evil. It is my conviction that if determinism is true, then Scripture becomes, well, a farce. You have a God who desires one thing, but in reality he has secretly decreed or willed another. You have a God who pleads with his people to turn to him, but in reality he has secretly decreed or willed that they will not turn to him. You have a God who is angry with the sins of his people, but in reality he has secretly decreed or willed those sins which he is so angry about in the first place. You have a God whom one is supposed to love and trust based upon his character, but in reality, he may be an altogether different God, for what he secretly decrees and wills is so utterly contrary to what is revealed about him in Scripture. You have a God who did not send his own Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. You have that God on the one hand, and then you have the God as portrayed by deceased Calvinist Jonathan Edwards, who abhors you and can't even bear to look at you as he holds you over the pit of hell, much as one holds a spider. Now, because some influential leaders are promoting it in the church today, Calvinism is the theology that many young people are buying into, hook, line, and sinker. But do they really know? Do they really understand that at its core, at its foundation, is this overriding belief in determinism? I don't believe many do, because this darker side is not revealed to them until they are emotionally entangled in it. And at this point in time, they've been fed so many caricatures and, dare I say, lies about Arminian theology that they really have no other alternative but to remain Calvinist despite its inconsistencies. looking back, I shouldn't have been surprised that my friend wasn't initially disclosed the full truth about Calvinism. They wouldn't be able to recruit that many adherents if everything at the outset was brought out into the light. Thank you for watching the Arminian Minute.